Do you know what Watergwan is? It's where you can get news about the Jamaican culture and just learn about how Jamaicans are doing, as I said, yard and abroad.
Salut tout le monde, ici Kaya La Flamme. T'aimes le reggae en français, en anglais, tu viens du Canada, du Québec et de la Jamaïque, écoute Watergwan.
So rope in and come check out the thing now. It's Watergwan.
I live in the UK and I enjoy tuning in to Watergwan.
I am a big fan of Watergwan. I'm always looking forward for the great vibes, the great things. They discuss a lot of things that are going on in Calgary, across Canada, and of course Jamaica. So
this is what is going on in Jamaica. But check out Watergwan.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. Calgary time.
You get to learn a new Jamaican patois word or even a Jamaican trick.
I look forward to the patois word of the day, feeding my nostalgic mood with flavor and spice. Only Jamaicans can do.
Watch Watergwan.
It happens every Friday at 7 p.m. So check them out. And bye from Toronto.
Watch Watergwan.
Yo, this is Steve.
Watch Watergwan.
Relevant and entertaining, so keep up the good work.
Watch Watergwan.
tune in, share, listen to Watergwan.
Big up yourself. Watergwan 2022. Bless you.
Watergwan. Yes, Watergwan.
Watch Watergwan.
Always you're going to know Wagwan in a yard. Check it out. 7 p.m. every Friday.
Watergwan, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Shelley Morgan, and it is my pleasure to be your host and resident aging well educator and researcher today. I'm currently living in Montreal. It was a beautiful day today. And I'm still on a high. I'm still on a vacation high. I recently returned from a wonderful vacation in Calgary, Alberta. And I must say, and I keep telling everyone, Banff should be on your travel wish list. It is just beautiful. And I'm so happy that you chose to join us for yet another episode of Watergwan. I hope you had a successful week. A lot of things go on this week. It was a time to reflect. And we all know Queen Elizabeth II died. And there's a lot of, activities and memories. And for those who love the Queen and love the royals, it's a very important time. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And we are excited. We have another riveting conversation today on the topic of policing. A look from both sides with our invited guests, Donovan Tait and Captain Rupert Francis. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fantastic discussion. Before, we're going to talk about the patois word of the day. Jingbang. Jingbang. If your mother or your grandmother ever tell you something about your jingbang, yeah, we invite you to write the definition in the comments. Write it in use jingbang in a sentence, in a phrase. We love to hear you. We love to hear your voice. We love to see the chatting and the conversations. Let's keep the conversation going. Yeah, jingbang. That's the patois word of the day. Last week, we had an excellent discussion with Andre Rose and Dr. Daniel Thomas about the healthcare system in Jamaica with the perspective of someone working directly in the system and those who support family members who navigate Jamaica's health systems. We also spoke about the importance of preventative health measures, men's health issues, and the future of the health system. To quote Dr. Thomas, with regards to the current challenges, he says, it relates to vision, it relates to leadership, it relates to creative solutions that need to be found and encouraged. We need to encourage our staff to find solutions or vision for transformational healthcare that needs to be more prominent, and we need to push forward. Excellent words. So we thank Dr. Thomas and Andre for joining us to discuss this very important topic. We love it when you engage with us in the comments, in the feedback on our show. If you missed a show, any episode, check out the replay on Gwaan YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Find the links on our website, watagwan.ca. Now, what's happening across Canada? In Vancouver, mark your calendars. Amexem Cultural Society is hosting Van City Roots and Culture Experience on Granville Island on Saturday, September 24th from noon to 10 p.m. More details will be coming soon about where to get tickets. Make sure you save the date. In Montreal, the Jamaica Association of Montreal is hosting an afternoon with Senator the Honorable Leslie Campbell, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, on Sunday the 18th, 2022, starting at 5:30 p.m. at the association located at 4065 Jean Talon. This is a free event. Register for this event on the Jamaican Association website at jamaicamontreal.ca to secure your seat, or call 514-737-8229 for more information. Yes. The Caribbean Heritage Sport Competition is hosting Island versus Island Sports Competition on Saturday, September 17th, located at the Calgary Rotary Challenger Park Society, 3688 48th Avenue Northeast. A free family event filled with plenty of competitive sports for you to join in and have fun. There'll be an opening ceremony, games, food, and live entertainment. Basketball, netball, even card games are a part of the competition. There's also a free tennis clinic for kids under the age of 15. To register your team or for more information on how to participate, contact chsccalgary.org for information on how to sign up. It's a great way to spend a Saturday. And now for Spot That Place. I'm always dancing to that song. It just reminds me so much of home. So this is where we share pictures of places in Jamaica or Canada. You need to tell us the specific location. So the clues for our Spot the Place is the property originally was known as Somerset Pen. The property, 190 acres, was bought for £6,000. It is a venue for state and ceremonial functions, including the swearing in of ministers of government and judges of the High Court. And of course, Queen Elizabeth II visited in 2002. Can you spot the place? Add it to the comments. Let's hear. And I will let you know if you're right at the end of the show. And now It's time we all have been waiting for. My good virgin, Donovan, our esteemed host. Time to reason.
What's up, Sherry?
They all live a good life.
They all live a good life. Granny say I have to get rid of the jing bang them.
So me very, very, very. Me not keep
You
jingle friend.
never have the jing bang.
No.
You sure?
No, me have no jing bang.
Or maybe you had, but you never described them like your granny described them.
No, because them was my friend. My granny just stand bad.
Oh, that's funny.
But actually, we did have some jing bang friend.
There you go. So you go.
Yes.
So you go. All right. Listen, this week we have a serious reasoning.
Yes.
We're going to talk about policing. And listen, the two guests I have, I was looking at their resume and I'm thinking to myself, this might be the most eminent. And granted, we have had some fantastic guests on this show. It was hard to pick out what to say about them, but I think maybe more importantly is what they're going to say to us.
Yes.
So listen, I'm going to squeeze out as much as I can out of the reasoning, then maybe we'll talk a little more.
Sound good, me not Jim Bang friend.
All right. Listen, folks, greetings. Welcome again to A Time to Reason here on Gwaan. And today we're going to be talking about policing. And we're going to get a look from both sides because we're going to have somebody who spent a lot of time of their career in the police service and somebody who has looked at it from multiple sides, was also had his time as part of the service. So I've got Captain Rupert Francis, who, first thing I'm going to big up is that he's from St. Anne, Garden Parish, right? A York Castle man. But maybe more importantly, served in so many different capacities. He's been chairman of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. He's the CEO of Educate the World Consultancy. He's been an elected member of the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board. He's been a professor at this Art Institute in Land Empire College, former director of Criminal Justice Department at Westwood College, and the list goes on as it relates to what Dr. Rupert Francis has done. But to join him on the panel is also somebody who has served a lot in a lot of capacities. 27-year-old veteran of the RCMP, that's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And he's currently serving as the Canadian government overseas as the diplomatic police attaché in the Middle East. So he's joining us from Turkey early in the morning there. Somebody who has roots in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, and has done a number of things. One of the things I want to big up Donovan for, though, is that he was a member of Jamaica's national team that won the gold medal, ice hockey, in the International Latin American Cup in Miami, Florida, in 2019. Somebody who has been awarded the RCMP's Distinguished Long Service Medal and the Commanding Officer Certificate of Appreciation. And this is just a snippet of what they bring to the table. It is my pleasure to have Dr. Rupert Francis and Donovan Tait on Gwaan. Gentlemen, welcome.
Big up, Donovan. What do you say?
Rupert, you're on mute.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, great. Good to see you, Donovan. You
Yes,
have not aged a bit.
Well, come on. Yeah.
I was going to say thank you, but I figure you're talking to Donovan Tait.
Both Donovans. Come on, give me a break. He's the youngest. Listen to Donovan. He's the youngest of us all. So
Hold on.
Listen, it's a pleasure to have both you on the show to talk about a very important topic. This whole topic of policing, which seems to always make the news in some way, shape, or form. So here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with you, Donovan, after many years serving in the RCMP. help our audience. What are some of the things that regular citizens may not understand or appreciate about the role of the police?
I would think that one of the biggest myths out there are myths that people don't realize how complex the job is, how many different hats a police officer has to wear, decisions that are made day to day, the level of accountability internally in the police that a police officer has. Especially nowadays, the level of education and experience that your average police officer has, on the road, in uniform or in specialty sections. I would say the complexity of the job and the difficulty of the job day to day. It is, television romanticizes and glamorizes the job, but it is not anything like you would see on the TV or the movies or what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rupert, you have done a lot of studies. You have been a professor in, criminal justice, criminology. You've headed task force. What do you see when you look at the police?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I wish I saw more police like Donovan. And I'm not saying that because he's here. I'm saying it because of certain knowledge. You notice how he started talking about the job as if everybody should know that police should do this, but not everybody knows that, unfortunately, my friend. So that's why I'd love to see more of him, the type of attitude that he has and what he brings to the table. A police is there to serve and protect, and that is just not idle talk. I myself was the head of the military police, and I trained at the Royal Military Police Training School in England and Chichester. So I learned police tactics, both from a military point of view and a civilian point of view. And there's soft policing and hard policing. And there's cleverness, there's intelligence that Donovan spoke to. And once you decide you're going to do a job and you put your best foot forward and you do not allow yourself to be compromised. No, let me put it this way. A policeman has to be flexible too. They have to know when to flex, because there are people, for example, that Donovan has to depend on. I'm not speaking for him, but he has to depend on to get his intelligence. Mm-hmm. And so if he does not play his role correctly, then he will not be able to get the intelligence to do his job. And right. I happen to believe and know that that's what his thing is. And so that's what we should be aiming for. A very ethical person who not only thinks of themselves, but of the public at large. That's right. The policeman I know.
All right. Listen, Donovan, there are clearly hazards to the job, right? Let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the hazards to policing?
Well, there's the obvious hazards to your physical safety. And so if we're envisioning the police officer that's in uniform in a police car responding to calls day in, day out, depending on the context, I always like to remind people that, especially in Canada, but in Jamaica as well, there's a rural context of policing where the police officer might be working alone, backup or assistance might be some distance away. That's the same in Canada. So the hazards of the job, the decision making that has to go. I think it's quite topical nowadays that any police officer with years of experience undergoes a tremendous amount of stress, mm-hmm. and the residual of that mental health, impact on family, social mm-hmm. relationships, those sorts of things. I think the public needs to remember that the men and women in uniform doing this very difficult job are human beings with challenges and fears and struggles, just like anybody else.
Right.
On top of doing a difficult job.
Right.
So the mental health hazards, as well as the physical, obvious safety hazards.
Rupert, do you think the general public even consider these hazards and and what it means on a daily basis for this, what I'm going to consider an essential service to the way society operates? Do they see these hazards at all?
Hold on, no. Depending on where you're looking at, or
Right.
you're from your vantage point and where you're speaking to. If we're speaking in, I cannot speak for in Canada, but I could in the sense that it's more similar to what I'm accustomed to for the past 20 years in the United States, and different states differ. But I think that the police are well respected in certain areas. Certainly, when I was in California, I never had any serious encounter with any police. And so therefore, and I went and I worked with them, and I saw them at work, and they were very patient and what have you. I have come across mounted police, and I've seen them very professional as well. I mean, I'm not talking about Donovan alone. I'm talking about other people that I met when I was in Montreal. Then I would also say, though, in Jamaica, to be specific, I think, well, listen, I grew up in a situation where I didn't have a dad. And guess who were my dads? Policemen. I used to go, my mother, first of all, and I did basically, she went straight to the police. And I had to learn to run like Usain Bolt, because they would, I'm telling you, these guys would say, ho, your mother came and we're going to lock you up. And man, I would run and hide. Okay. So, but then again, they were the ones you would walk with, and they would talk with you, and they would say, boy, when you grow up, I want you to be a good, And so they mentored me. So, we need to come back to that stage where people can appreciate the police and and not hide from them, or not willing to give them information. So that's where.
And maybe part of that leads to the question, and Donovan, you can help us with this, about how much policing has changed. You've spent, almost 30 years in that career. How much has it changed from what, Rupert is talking about it today?
Yeah, man, it has changed. It evolves with greater society. I mean, the obvious is technology, the use of crime fighting techniques. Equipment. There's obviously the legislative changes, and there's been big changes in the attitudes of the public towards the police because of some very high-profile things that have happened in our world. We've changed some of our recruiting efforts, recruiting methods, internal policies and practices. Police equipment has changed quite a bit. So there's been lots of different changes as policing evolves with the greater society.
Right. And Rupert, one of the elements I think that come into question then is culture. I mean, we can talk about different places, Jamaica, the United States, Canada, who knows where else. How much does culture impact the way a police organization is perceived and how it operates? What do you think?
That's a very good question. Donovan, all your questions are good questions, but that one in particular, so because to be quite honest with you, when you have people in a culture who are not exposed to the type of policing that Donovan speaks to, and he has experienced in his 20-something years, they need to see this up front. We need to find a way to expose them in our culture. And the one that I spoke to about the nearness and the closeness of the policing to the children when I was growing up. I'm not asking us to reverse. I know things are more technologically competent and so on and so forth. But somehow in Jamaica, there's a disconnect. And I really think that we need to reconnect. And there are many, many reasons for that. We didn't come here to shame and blame or anything. But I just want to say that we have to find a way to do more community-based policing. Right? So that we can, or soft policing, so that they can once again see policemen as human beings. But there's a lot that goes with that, Donovan. So please don't open that door, because if you open that door, we have to talk about it. The police have to be comfortable. And it's no secret that, look at my friend, he's comfortable because they take care of him. And we're talking about the Donovan, now we're talking about him dark glasses. The icebreaker. Yes, that one. They take care of them. And if you take care of your people, the message in that, no matter who it is, in society, including the police. They are human beings. They have a family. They have to go home. They have to be safe, right? And if you are able to do that for police, and I believe me, I believe in the police, right? I advocate for them. And in fact, they invited me to address their annual general meeting last January, which was a great honor.
Right. So taking care of the police and how society perceives it. Donovan, in your many years, and when you look at the service in different places, is the community conscious of the need to take care of the police in order to get the service that they require?
I think so. Doc raises some very good points. Robert Peel and his 9 principles of policing always comes back to the police are made up of the public, and the public should be reflected and seen in the police. So there has to be that connection.
Right.
And police officers, I'll be very honest, can get caught up in the chase of crime fighting, the pursuit of the bad guy and what have you, and forget about the grassroots community that they're serving. So
Right.
any police service that spends any amount of time or effort investing in their community is only going to enhance their ability to keep that community safe.
Right.
I mean that, and I do see that happening. Not only in Jamaica, I think the JCF is making some great strides, attempting to involve themselves back into community. And Doc speaks of the Jamaica of years ago, where the policeman would walk his beat and get to know the kids in every home and first names and what have you. In a big metropolitan urban context, that can be difficult, and there can be challenges to involve. So you've got to break the community down into neighborhoods and areas and what have you. In a rural context, it should be a natural thing to involve coaching, sports, being part of the church, community events. Anytime a police officer can spend time in those pursuits is only going to help them achieve their objectives.
Right. In fact, Rupert, there was a time when there was a very popular thing called a police youth club.
Absolutely. Yes.
In Jamaica, but that popularity seems to have waned. What happened?
Well, let me tell you something. If you do not do something, or it's not consistent, then it's going to go away. Okay? And just as Donovan alluded or said, that you have to get involved in. But let me say this to you. A policeman is a human being. I mean, you may not want to talk about it, but a soldier or a policeman who is depressed may do things that you may be surprised at. And we don't necessarily want to shock the public, but we have a few of them in Jamaica, and at least 21 ex-servicemen commit suicide almost every day.
Yes.
And in the United States, listen to me. Don't ask me if it happens in Jamaica. It happens. I don't want to give any instances, but the fact of the matter is that Royal Canadian Multi Police may be different because they're different. You see, them clothes different and how they look good and all that stuff. You see Donovan and them hat, man, the man look really nice.
Pretty regalia, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they look different. Okay, right? Him horse go down the road. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is this: that we have to remember that the police are human beings, just like you and me. And they have to remember that the people they are policing are their family and friends too. They have to get that focus back, okay? And for respect to show itself, and it can be, let me say this to you, despite you could put on uniforms to they're beautiful, but if you cannot gain the respect of the public, you have a problem. And what that is what I think young policemen much should be coached into doing, and to get back those youth clubs, because some people hate to see this quotation in the Bible: train up the child in the way it must go, and when it is old, it'll not depart. But if you do that, what you're ensuring is people that can take over, and do the thing that you did right, or improve on it. So my view is that the police has a great role to protect the society, and they want them when they're protecting. And so when something happens, but then you can't eat your cake and have it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And when you talk about eat your cake and have it, Donovan, I want to touch on a little point here.
Sure.
Every phone has a camera now, and social media seems to be the way of the world. Everything gets highlighted, right? Including the activities of the police. How does that affect the way policing is practiced and the people in those roles?
Yeah, I mean, everyone, I think as a police officer in uniform in public, I think most officers realize that they're under a microscope, not in a negative context, but you will have attention and people will be watching what you are doing. So there shouldn't be any reason why a camera shouldn't be on you. I mean, there's some safety issues that I don't know if important to get into now, where a police officer engaged in an operation or an arrest might not want tactics or whatever recorded. But yes, any police officer out there working is very mindful of not only cell phone cameras, video surveillance, that their behaviors, their activities that they're doing on the street or wherever will be captured and then could be highly scrutinized.
Yeah.
That does add to some of the stress that I mentioned earlier on the totality of the job. I mean, the fellow shop at the grocery store doing the job to the best of his abilities maybe doesn't have that level of oversight and accountability. But today's modern police officer, you have to recognize that there are many eyes, human eyes, and as well as video surveillance, digital, that are watching every move you make. If you are plying your trade morally, ethically, legally, to the best of your abilities, there should be no problem with that. And you should welcome that scrutiny and accountability. Police officers are human. Sometimes police tactics and strategies, physical force, to the untrained eye or to Joe Public, looks uncomfortable. It can look aggressive and violent. Again, each thing on its merits, but that aspect of the police being monitored it's a big thing out there for sure.
Yeah. Rupert, when you go out and you make a presentation and you talk to officers and they know there is this new phenomenon, for some of them anyway, what's your take on it, seeing it from the other side?
I've seen some horrendous stuff. I've seen it in Jamaica, whereby the crowd gets involved in the process, and that's not good for the police and or the civilians around. How do we stop this? Well, Donovan said the right way. You have to be ethical and so on. But then again, too, you're human. So I think training is important, very, very important. The level of training, the level of personal, what should I call it? Personal deportment, how you carry yourself, what you tell yourself. If you took your problems from home in the morning, you came to the job with it, on both sides.
Right.
And people are going to be, but don't listen. First of all, I've seen fist fights. And I know people don't want to hear about this, but the fact of the matter is that you have to teach personal body protection with the use of minimum force. It is possible. Here's a joke. I don't want to get a joke, but a policeman was chasing a suspect in the United States. And when he tried to arrest and do certain things to the suspect, his dog bit him. The police dog drew him off the man. Now, I'm saying to myself, what can you... even the dog had the common sense that you cannot behave in that manner. And so, therefore, the policeman has to know. And it's difficult. I mean, Donovan has faced that, and I'm telling you, my heart goes out to him. And he's, all these years, he's been able to do the right thing. But I'm telling you, sometimes the right thing can be misconstrued.
Right.
Okay? And so, therefore, it is a catch-22.
Yeah.
So we have to go training, and we have to not try to arrest people in a big gap. You can just do it again, reel and come again. If you see it escalating, walk away. You haven't lost anything. But I tell you this, and Donovan, I don't think has experienced this, a Jamaican crowd who decide that you must not arrest the man. Okay?
Right.
And let me make it quite clear. I don't know how you're going to get out of that one and save face. But you can walk away, and they have to teach them or learn some good judo tactics or what have you. But believe you me, you don't want to be in that position.
But isn't that difficulty all over the world, though? Because I mean, we and part of me thinks it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it happens in New York, in California, in Orlando. There's seemingly always somebody seeing something that shouldn't be that way, and public opinion applies on this particular service. And Donovan, maybe you can weigh in on this. For the guy who takes on that job. A pilot doesn't get that, a doctor doesn't get that. There's so many other professions out there that don't get this constant scrutiny and instant judgment, it seems. How does the policeman walk into that every day?
Yeah, man, that's something that that is part of the job and the totality of the job. You are entering a world that is highly scrutinized and accountable. So that is part of the professionalism of the job in today's police officer. The police around the world, Canada, the United States, England, Europe. I mean, the police have millions of encounters and engagements with the public that are benign, that are positive, where there's nothing that's gone wrong. Mm-hmm. What is highlighted in the media are that very, very small percentage where a police officer has made a mistake, or an encounter has gone horribly wrong. Doc mentions training. Training is critical to the modern police officer. Right. Knowing what your statutory authorities are to act, being confident in what you're doing, your decision making, and like I said, those are things. I mean, this isn't playing cops and robbers. When you put on that uniform and enter out into the street and engaging in all different types of calls for service and calls for assisting the public, it can be a very difficult job where decisions are made in split seconds that can have enormous consequences. But the public has to realize the police are making contacts every day, millions, and that go well, that are positive, that are benign, and drive off, and no one hears about those. Right. So I try to live in that positive world, right? You want to live in a positive world. And I always like to tell younger officers that 99%, now that might be high, but I am positive, of the public understands the challenges that we have, respect the police, and wants to do the right thing and understands. And it's that small, really vocal minority, or that small minority of police officers that make mistakes, that we're accountable. Now you've got to face those consequences.
I want to go down the line, two lines before we have to look at the clock again. Rupert, it is I suppose impossible to have a conversation about policing without talking about corruption. Because it happens. How do we have a conversation of the reality that it happens, but also that it doesn't mean that there isn't the need for the service?
Let me say this to you, that policing in so-called first world is totally different from policing in the third world, because corruption is something that rears its ugly head. Because I think it's a disparity in pay, it's a disparity in circumstances, and so I think we ought to look at it, and everybody needs to look at it, both the public And they have to understand, if just put yourself for one day, I say to anybody, in the shoe of a policeman in the Jamaican context, and let me just give it to you raw. The fact of the matter is that they're paying about Canadian dollars, $900 per month and 700 US. Now, on God's earth, how is a policeman to equip himself, raise a family, and do what he has to do? So the temptation is there. Okay, temptation is there. He's human. Okay, and he wants to do this, and you have people out there who will flaunt him. Oh, look, little dirty boy police. And let's just understand who we're dealing with here. And they embarrass them. They have this. Some of the, listen to me. We cannot have this conversation unless we really look at some of the hard facts.
Right.
The police need to be paid properly. The nurses, the doctors. And I'm not bashing. When I talk, people always, I'm the guy now that they love to hate, because I have reached a point that I like to tell the truth. If Donovan tells the truth, and everybody, because he's good looking and all that sort of thing, they don't know about Donovan. Both of you. But me now, the old man, they will say, "But this guy hates." No. I love Jamaica. I love my children. That's why I will try to counsel them so that they can do the right thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are some people out there who don't want to hear the right thing. And you see, when somebody ends up in jail, whether it's a youngster or what have you, or does something bad, if I had known, you knew, you could have stopped it.
Right.
So that's where I go with all this, my friend. It's a personal thing for me. It's some I want the children of Jamaica, right, to become. And I know Donovan hates when I do this. A Donovan Tait. He left Jamaica. Yourself, Donovan. I hate these two Donovan names. Donovan 1, Donovan 2. And you left Jamaica. You don't turn toddy, right? And you come out and you make it. Why not everybody? All the young children of Jamaica? I'm not selfish. I want them to be better than me. Anyway,
Right.
I hope I answered the question. I went off on a time.
Yeah, makes sense. Donovan, I want to, we get to wrap up here. There are many police organizations that have attempted to rebrand. They've taken the word force out of their name. They've considered it a service. Not everybody has. Is there any value in the rebranding process and how people perceive what policing is all about?
I think so. Police are the ultimate public service, a public servant. So I think, going from the word police force or department to a police service is a daily reminder of not only to the public, but the police that are wearing that uniform. It says it on its badge, on its paperwork, in the name, that you're there to serve the public. So, I mean, and I'm not saying for a second that those departments and forces that haven't changed their name, but at the leadership of those that are changing, the Calgary Police Service, that's exactly what it is. They are providing policing services to the city of Calgary. Is there value? I think so. I think it's a daily reminder to the public and to the police officers and employees of that agency that they are providing a service.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to just piggyback on what Donovan said. There's a little dictum called "serve to lead." It's only when you serve, why you have people coming as a busboy, a waiter, and then they're promoted, because they have served.
Right.
They know how to serve. And so serve to lead is very, very, very important in what Donovan has just said and articulated. And I think that sometimes we forget. But if you're hungry and you need stuff, it's hard. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's difficult to keep people in check when they can't provide for themselves and their families.
Right. Rupert, what's reasonable for citizens to expect of the police?
Well, protection and service, and I like the idea. I never thought of it like Donovan just said about police service. I think everybody should become a servant of the people, because even the politicians should be political service. Isn't that something? And because we serve. It's this thing called servant leadership, and I believe in that. And we have to change our paradigms, change how we do things, in order to so that the public can appreciate it and they will No, is it difficult? Of course it is. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's why we have social media. I'm not really a fan of social media because everybody now who has. I mean, I have seen people who have 1 million likes, and I'm saying, what are they liking? But obviously they're doing something right. And am I jealous? No, I'm not. It's just a simple thing that when an accident occurs, a carnage, people take out the cameras and start to. We have to get people disciplined, and we have to respect certain things on certain occasions and try to help. And so I say to you, the police has a job cut out for them anywhere. I'm very happy that in some jurisdictions it is totally different. And I hope that we can learn from and take the advice from people who have been there in other jurisdictions and what has made them good. There's a thing called Safer Cities Initiative. And if we can do that, then I think it's a bit. And have more conversations like these where we can examine the role of the civilian, the person who's being served, and the server, which is the policeman.
We're going to give the server the last question here, the last word. Donovan, what does effective policing look like, and is it achievable? Is it being achieved?
Effective. I think so. I don't think you can. Policing is not. It's not something where you're gonna. Okay, now we're finished. We're done. It has to evolve, and it's something that is dynamic. That is always going to go on. You've got to be nimble and flexible to the needs of your community. You've got to listen to your community. Go out to your community and see what the needs are. Effective policing is the public having trust, having faith, and the police service modeling their core values: honesty, integrity, professionalism, compassion, honesty. Those are things that should be strived for every day. The world is changing. So can it be achieved? It's always something that's got to be you got to strive for, right? I just want to dovetail quickly. I know we're end on time, but I think the public, if you call the police and you need assistance at your home or what have you, the public should be able to expect a professional police officer, someone who's well-trained, who's confident, someone that they can see in their eyes, whether it's a cultural competence, language, gender, those sorts of things. Someone that is kind, that is caring, compassionate, but at the same time firm and decisive. Those are expectations that I think are fair of anyone when they call and ask for help of the police. So again, being one of the older, more mature officers now, those are lessons that, when you're putting on your uniform, remember that you're going to engage with people that are generally good people on a bad day. And I don't think those are unreasonable expectations of the public.
I hope you'll give me a chance to say, boy, I tell you, when I want to meet a police, I want to meet a police Donovan. Because I am telling, no, it's not serious, no. I mean, I've known him for a long time, and tonight I know the value and the essence of a good policeman from you. And thank you for the man get up long time, and he's where he is right now. I tell you for doing what you're doing. Donovan,
opportunities like this are critical. I'm a proud Jamaican first, and I'm happy to participate. Blessings, Dr. Nelson, and right back at you. Right.
All right. Listen, Rupert, before we go, there's a question from one of the viewers, and I want to throw this. How do you believe that change can come about in policing in Jamaica? You've done many studies, some at your own dime, to assist with that kind of question. What's your thought?
I think I think that it's the mutual thing. We in the diaspora here we love Jamaica. We love it bad. And I think that we have to find a way of engaging the diaspora. People like, and I keep on saying that Donovan, yourself and so on, people who are willing to share their knowledge, their training, their education, and their experience. Please reach out to them, not because they're talking down to it. Listen to them, work with their best practices. They're willing to help for free most of the time. Okay? And so that is the way we can change. So we need to accept each other, that we are brothers. We are the same Jamaicans that have gone away and learned the first world tactics, and we can share it because they take other people from other countries, and we are here ready, willing, and able. And I think that's how you'll have change. That's how you'll be able to make wonderful changes in the fastest possible way in Jamaica. Not by talking down to people, but by listening to each other and coming out with the best solutions together as Jamaican. One love, one heart, one destiny. That's what we need.
All right, listen, that's the line that we're going to end with today. Dr. Rupert Francis, Donovan Tait, thank you both, gentlemen, for being on A Time to Reason here on Gwaan today.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
All right, take care. All right.
Take care, buddy.
Shirley.
Just fantastic. I have to echo Mark Henry says fantastic topic this evening. Garfield Morgan says excellent topic. And Sharon Nelson, you nailed that question. Fantastic. Listen, me I forget some of my father is a retired police and me I hear these things. He retired probably 10, 15 years now for true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it profound.
Yeah, some good argument. And one of the things that I think both of them stressed, and sometimes we tend to forget, is that the people in these organizations, the people in the police services all over the world, are human beings.
Yes.
Yes. They have the same issues. Yeah. They face the same challenges, family, stress, life,
insecurities,
all the things that other people face. And too often we tend to miss that very core but important reality about what that particular profession is. Teachers make mistake, nurse make mistake, doctor make mistake.
But police, right? How dare you make a mistake?
The police are supposed to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was a big point for me listening to both gentlemen.
I took some notes, and I just to echo what you said, the police force or the police service is made up of people, and we need to take care of them. Because they're also policing and serving their family and friends as well.
True.
Yeah, quite profound.
Yeah. And we have to build back the respect as well. I mean, I think when we look at the Jamaican context, I know as a kid growing up, there's a certain respect that we gave to the role, not even the individual first, no, to the role.
Yes.
Right. And I think there is the need to get back some of that.
Yes.
In terms of just respecting the office.
Yeah.
And what it means to society. And I think some of the issues that we're having is because that fundamental respect for the role in society and how it contributes to the operating of a functioning and an effective society is lost. And therefore people miss that if you don't have that role, there is a major dysfunction.
But to balance that off, the good doctor said, the role needs to be paid.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You can't tell a man say act a certain role and do it, and then he must scrounge If send him picnic to school or if eat a food.
Or eat a food. That's true.
That's how the corruption start. Me not even is when him says so, me say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, I'm going to say start and multiplies. And I think the other thing that, maybe we should acknowledge is corruption happens all across the world, all across different professions, right, in different ways. And it is not always a factor of just greed, right? Because there are people who are well paid who find the need, I'm going to say, to be corrupt. And there are people who are poorly paid who choose not to be corrupt, right? But it doesn't change the fact that if the man go out and can buy a lunch, right? The man like I said, do something for me, right? Well, and this is just using the Jamaican context. The man
but even
say,
to have pride in your work,
left
that
and right.
that you're doing something that you that you can take care of your family.
You can take care of yourself and take care of your family.
Yeah.
And eat a lunch, right? So,
yeah.
Good talk.
Excellent
No reasoning. And I appreciate Rupert and Donovan for sharing their immense experience as we talk a tough topic like policing.
Yes.
All right, listen, I'm gonna step away from this because I'm sure you've got a few things to do.
Yeah, gonna tie it up.
We'll do it again next week.
Definitely.
All right, cool.
All right. You hear it from Donovan. We'll do it again next week. But before we continue, the patois word of the day. Kombolong. If your granny say, not kombolong, jingbang. I had kombolong in my head because when I hear about jingbang, remember my mother say, you kombolong them, down the road, keep away from your kombolong them, you and your kombolong, your peers and your friends. And it's usually an older person who is referencing your jingbang or your kombolong in that fashion. Patois word of the day, kombolong. Now, spot the place. Did you guess it? Yeah? King's House. It is the official residence of the governor of Jamaica. And if you get a chance when you visit Jamaica again, if you have never been there, you should. It is beautiful. The staff is very accommodating. And you should have an idea of, where the GG of Jamaica's official residence is. Next week, our reasoning will be all about one of my favorite topics and my passion, education. Education and its place in national development with Dr. Karen Dunkley. It promises to be another interesting and engaging conversation. As an educator myself, I am very, very, very excited to hear what the good doctor has to say, because education for me is the key to national development. Come with us next week and we'll learn some more. We are still looking for our marketing coordinator. We're looking for an experienced marketing coordinator and a content creator on a volunteer basis to join our team here at Gwaan National Team. This is a phenomenal opportunity to hone your communications, creative and marketing skills, and to work and receive mentorship with a team of professionals located across Canada. Students, you're all invited to apply. You must have 1 year experience working in marketing, social media space, have experience in creating marketing social media campaigns, must be familiar with the Jamaican Caribbean culture. Come and be a part of a vibrant team. The wall are there. We are all passionate about sharing all aspects of our beloved Jamaican culture with the world. Send your resume to us via our social media accounts, or simply send it to us via our email, watagwancnd@gmail.com. Please remember to send us your video saying Watagwan so we can add it to the show. Check out our website, www.watagwan.ca. Send us an email. Contact us on our social media. We want to hear from you. Come tell me what I want. Yeah? Excellent. My name is Shelley Morgan. It has been my extreme pleasure to be your host. See you next week. Wishing you a wonderful weekend, and I encourage you to take good care of yourself. And next time you see a police in service, acknowledge him or her or they. They're humans, and they're here to serve and protect. Walk good.